Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our BMW Group Academy. You actually probably realise you're not actually in that building, but we'll take you over after lunch, give you a bit of a tour around the facility. But you're actually in our Brand Academy, and our Brand Academy is where we teach all our delegates from our dealer network all about the brand. So we have a mini room and a BMW room. First of all, I'm responsible for BMW technical training. And that covers all of our technicians, so all of our technical training. Also covers motorcycles. And it also covers the body shop side of the business as well. And also our apprenticeship programs. I'm going to talk a little bit what we do about the Academy, but I'm going to hand over to Gary in a little while. And Gary's going to talk a little bit more about our apprenticeship programs. First of all, I thought it'd be useful just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what we do from a BMW Group point of view in the UK. You may not know, but we have some production facilities in the UK. And first of all, we have Plant Hams Hall, and that's based in Birmingham. And Plant Hams Hall builds all of our four-cylinder petrol engines for Mini and BMW throughout the whole world. So it's a huge, huge facility. We have BMW Ireland, which is a subsidiary in Southern Ireland, and that's a sales office there, and we support BMW Ireland. We have Plant Oxford, I'm sure all of you know, build the Mini, and that's the only facility in the world where the Mini is produced. We have Plant Swindon, obviously in Swindon, and that's where we build all of our panels for the Mini, whilst we do some other work there as well. We have BMW UK, which is based in Bracknell, so just a few miles away. That's our head office for all our sales and marketing and after-sales activities in the support of the BMW dealer network. We have BMW Financial Services, is based at Hook, and they support all of our dealer network for all of our financial services and all the financial options which are available for our customers. And of course we have Rolls-Royce as well, so that's part of our group. And they're built at Goodwood, down in the south, and that's the only production facility there. Now, we're quite unique in the UK because we're the only place in the world where all three brands within the BMW Group have a production facility. So whether it's engines or whether it's vehicles, we're the only place in the world. So we see ourselves very important, and we are very important in the BMW world. So, a little bit about the Academy. As I said a little bit earlier, this is the Brand Academy. So we're very, very special to have this in the UK. It's the only one outside of Germany. There are some other mobile Brand Academies out there. But this is where all of our delegates from all our dealer network come to do their brand training. And that's include our apprenticeships as well. All our apprentices that come through our apprentice programs come through the Brand Academy. So they're taught in that room at the back there, they are closed today, all about the Mini brand. So that's geared very, very differently to the BMW side. So they have all sorts of disco things in there and cocktail bars and young trendy and everything else. But yet the BMW side is very different, as you can imagine. Leather, chrome, very just as it should be. So very, very different. They get to learn about the different brands and how they behave within those brands as well. We have a state-of-the-art residential training facility, and you'll see that a little bit this afternoon. So after lunch, we'll give you a little bit of a tour around the facility. So it will just show you where we do all of our training. The Brand and Customer Institute, which I've just talked about, we have 5 workshop pods within the Academy itself, and those are separated from the main training that we do. And it's quite nice because as a workshop pod, we can get 6 vehicles into a workshop pod. And it's quite nice because the noise level doesn't, rather than have one enormous training workshop area, they're separated into 5 different areas, so the noise level is kept down to a minimum. Especially when you're carrying out training, you don't want too much noise going on around you. So you'll see that a little bit later this afternoon. One important point as well, we have 20 bedrooms at the Academy, and they're all for our apprentices. So when our apprentices come down to the Academy, they don't stay in hotels outside of the Academy, they actually stay inside the Academy, so we've got complete control of them, which is fantastic, really. Absolutely right. Yeah, we do have adults staying as well, so Gary tends to stay an awful lot overnight with them, so there's always adults that stay with them, just make sure that everything is okay. But we're quite lucky with the apprentices we have. because we're very, very strict on the discipline and the way they behave and the way they dress as well. So we're very lucky from that respect. We have 19 training rooms, and you'll see that a little bit later this afternoon. And we have 7 syndicate rooms, which are offset from the normal training rooms as well. So as a training happens and they're split into little groups, we have little syndicate rooms for them as well. We've got the capacity to deliver in excess of around about 35,000 training man days a year. So it's a huge area. I mean, just my side alone, which I'm really going to talk about my side of the business, which is the technical side, hence the reason I walk around with a bunch of cables and wires in my hand really, so I'll explain about that in a little bit later. But we count really for around about 20,000 of those training man days. So a big part of what we do at the Academy is from the technical side, which I'm responsible for. There's a little video, I've talked a little bit about the Academy, so this little video was put together when the facility first opened, so give you a little bit of an idea about the impression of the facility. I'm sure you don't want to see that again, really. But it gives you a little bit of an idea about the impression. And I say this afternoon, just after lunch, we'll give you a little tour around the facility. If you've got any questions at all or what we do there, please feel free to ask at any stage. I mean, for myself, I've only worked at the Academy for 12 months, but I've been with the company for 27 years now. And most of that time, all that time, in actual fact, has been with after sales, but most of that time has been out in the field supporting our dealers from the service side of the business. So I'm very close to what our dealers need and what their requirements are, which is quite useful coming into a training side of things. We actually work with a partnership with the Academy. There's actually a very small number of staff, there's only 5 of us that actually are under a BMW headcount. And we look at the strategy and the business needs. So from my point of view, on the technical side, I need to make sure that what we're putting together and what we're delivering for our dealer network is what they need out there at the moment. And of course, things do change. I remember 10 years ago, if anybody said to me that we're going to sell diesel engines, I go, oh dear me, is that part of the brand? But most of the cars that we sell now have a diesel engine fitted to it. So the brand does change an awful lot, and we need to make sure that what we're putting together and what we're delivering for the dealers is absolutely right. In terms of training delivery and the design of all the training we do, we operate with a company called Babcock. You may have heard of them. It's a huge organisation, which Gary's part of. And we can tap into the resource for all their training and all their, especially on the apprenticeship side. I know Gary works very hard from that point of view. So they're the experts in terms of training delivery. And we also linked in with De Vere as well. So they're looking after the facility, So whether it's the meals, whether it's the accommodation, the meet and greet, as you'll see when you go to the academy, the girls on reception there, they're all part of De Vere. So it is a partnership with 3 different companies that bring this academy together and make it function. So who are our customers? Well, they're all our BMW dealer network. So we have 146 UK dealers. That also, on top of that, 16 island dealers. We have 6 authorised workshops. By that we mean that they are an after-sales facility, but they're not authorised to actually sell BMW, so they're just a standalone after-sales facility. We have 40 Motorrad dealers. Does anybody know what Motorrad means? It's motorcycles in German. So we have 40 motorcycle dealers, 120 approved body shops, and that equates roughly to about 10,500 employees. So all the employees from the dealers come into the academy. We have different events around the country as well, so it's not just at the academy, but most of the training we do is actually at the academy itself.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry.
Yep.
You've got 10,000 employees there, but doesn't equate to that. You look at the figures at the bottom. Where are the other staff come from? Where's support staff, like admin?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's a lot of admin staff.
Support side.
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely right. In terms of the scope of what we offer is we do leadership and management, and I know we touched on it a little bit earlier. In terms of the operational side, obviously we do technical, which is really my area. We do the brand, which would happen in this area. Sales and products. We also do product training here in the Brand Academy as well. After sales and also financial services. So we cover the whole breadth of training requirements for our dealer network. Obviously the apprenticeship side, which we're going to talk in a little bit more detail in a moment with Gary. We also support with recruitment. We have a pilot scheme at the moment that helps our dealers recruit the right sales executives. So we've been working with that side of things. So we do operate recruitment support. And of course, with the apprenticeship scheme, we do support with the recruitment side of that as well. We also do launch events. We do launch events dotted around the country, depends on where it is, but we also hold them here at Wakefield Park as well. So just talking a little bit, certainly in my area and what we do, from a technical point of view, we have a structured development programme for all technical staff, and they have to do 6 days per year technical training, and that combines face-to-face training and e-learning as well. And it probably sounds quite a bit, but when you see the rate in which technology changes, especially from the BMW world, we have to do that. We have to make sure that they're up to speed with the latest technology and they keep up to speed as well. And we do, just from technical training alone, we do about 12,000 training man days here. And the vast majority of the technical training is carried out here in the academy, purely because we've got the facility in the workshop space. It's different if you're doing non-technical training because you can do that in other facilities, but for technical training where you need specialist workshop equipment, we tend to have it here at the academy. And we're linked very closely with the IMI, with the ATA scheme, and it was mentioned a little bit earlier. So we have 3 levels of ATA, a technician, senior technician and master technician. And we try and encourage all of our technicians in our dealer network to be part of the ATA scheme and develop their career through the ATA scheme. We do body shop training. We don't do body shop training here at the academy. We have 2 separate sites which we use. One is at Ruddington in Nottingham, and one is ITAS, which is in Milton Keynes. The facility at Ruddington, we tend to do our body training there, so that's the heavy stuff. So the welding, the cutting, and all that type of stuff. And also the apprentice programme for our body shop is running at Ruddington. And ITAS in Milton Keynes, we do all of our adult paint training there, so that's a specialist area for paint training. Unfortunately, we just, because of building regulations, I think at the time, we couldn't build a body shop training centre here as well. But we do about 1,000 training man days a year for our body network, and we've got about 120 different body shops around the country. Some of them are dealer owned, some they're group owned, some are subcontract, so they're not specifically owned by the BMW dealership, but they're just subcontracted out to do the bodywork repairs. We do authority training here as well. We do sell bikes and cars to the authorities, and we do technical training because they need to be able to service those cars and those bikes. We also do that regionally as well, because it's only a very small part of what we do. It's only about 200 training man days a year, but we try and support the police forces, and we've recently done some training up in Scotland just to support them from a cost point of view. But we also do them here at the Academy as well, as and when it's needed. Motorcycle training. We have a separate training centre within the Academy. It's a 2-bay motorcycle workshop. And we do technical training and we do non-technical training as well for all the motorcycle dealers. Again, that's linked into the ATA side of our business as well. So exactly the same for the car side. We have technicians, we have senior and master motorcycle technicians out there. All of that's done at the Academy, and it equates to roughly about 200 to 300 training man days a year. So again, small part of what we do, but a very important part of what we do. Some of the achievements which we've had over the years at the Academy, I mean, we're very proud of what we do here. I'm not going to go through all of those, but one key one for us is the National Franchise Dealer Association in their survey. So this is a survey that's conducted through all manufacturers, through all their dealers, to see how they feel about the training that's provided by the manufacturer. And this year we've come out #1 again for both BMW and Mini, and that's the 6th year in a row that we've done that. So hopefully we're doing something right here at the Academy for our dealers, and they appreciate the work and effort that goes into that. So we're very proud of that. We're also very proud of our apprenticeship programme, and Gary's going to go into that in a little bit more detail. But the last 3 audits we had from Ofsted, we've been graded 1, and that's for every single element of our apprenticeship programme as outstanding. So that's a big recognition for everybody that's involved in the apprenticeship programme with Gary's team. This is a little video that I saw when I went on a training course, and how the world is changing. And it's very relevant to our world because technology changes so much. You know, when I started, it was 20 odd years ago, it was completely different to what it is now, and I know Steve will probably agree with that. And it's very hard to keep up with that. And this is a video, it's nothing to do with the motor trade, but I'm sorry if you've seen this, I think it might be on YouTube, but they're facts and figures that come out, and it just gives you food for thought about how the world is changing and how technology is moving so fast. Let me just play this for you. Interesting, isn't it? I'd say, according to that, I should have about 30 jobs by now. But, you know, it's in terms of how it affects us. We talked a little bit, mentioned a little bit earlier about computers in cars. This is a very, believe it or not, very simplistic overview of bus network on one of our cars. When I first started as a technician, just a few years ago now, we had a 12 volt, we had a bit of wire, now 12 volts going up and down it, maybe an earth lead, maybe any control unit on the car, but it did pretty basic sort of stuff. But things have changed hugely. Every single one of those items there is a computer, it's a control unit. And they all communicate with each other through bus networks. So there's thousands and thousands of messages going around there every second. And they all know exactly what each other's doing. So if one of them has a bit of a hiccup and doesn't want to play anymore, then it can cause problems on the car. But I have to teach people to diagnose and repair that. Now, is it okay? Yes, we have complex diagnostic systems, you know, to aid technicians. But once you plug that into the car and it doesn't help you anymore, what do you do? Where do you go? So I need people to understand that. And that is hugely, hugely different to when I first started as a technician many, many years ago. And so things have moved on very, very fast. If I take just one snapshot of one of the circuits on there, a basic CAN system, I'm talking about basic, where we have control units that don't need to have too much information too fast. Just the basic one alone does 100,000 bits of information per second down that CAN wire. And that would be a CAN wire, which is basically this. PT CAN, as we call it, is a little bit faster. This is where the engine and powertrain control units need a little bit more information, a little bit faster. We have a different system for that within that main bus network. That does 500,000 bits of information a second. Even quicker, we have a system called FlexRay. Again, that's hardwire as well. And that controls suspension systems, chassis systems, so dynamic control systems, DSC, which is our traction control systems. Very fast, very well. That runs at 10 million bits of information a second. But that's not fast enough, not for our entertainment systems. That uses fibre optic. So we have fibre optic on our cars for quite a few years now. And that can handle 22.5 million bits of information a second. So you can see where, yes, in the old days it was very much mechanical, living this. Today, there's no, you know, we diagnose and we repair our cars a lot of the time with laptops. I can program a car in Bracknell that's up in Scotland with a problem and I can fix it without even looking at the car. So that's where technology has moved forward. We can get cars programmed in Germany into our dealer network if we need to. It's not if we need that, but we have that facility to do that. So we can program and we can see what's happening to cars remotely. And that's something that's grown and grown and grown. So the type of people that we need are completely different to they were 10, 15 years ago. This is a diesel engine. This is just an overview of the intake system, an exhaust system on one of our diesel engines. It has 3 turbochargers fitted to it. Depends on engine load, engine speed. Sometimes they work individually, sometimes they work together, but they have to be controlled, and it's very complex. So you can imagine bolting over that the electrical system for the engine, and then putting over the top of that the fuel system for the car. The fuel system works at a high pressure, 1,500 to 2,000 bar. Well, if you put your tyres to the correct pressure, you're about 2 to 3 bar. That runs at that 2,000 bar, which is equivalent to 20 to 30,000 pounds per square inch. Now that, you know, if you don't know what you're doing and working on our fuel system, one of our cars, that's not going to be very good when that starts leaking. So you've got fuel pressure coming out at 30,000 pounds per square inch. So it's very skilled, and and that's how diesel technology has changed. At the moment, we're introducing hybrid cars. We have a 3 Series, 5 Series, and 7 Series hybrids out there. They run on high voltage. If you don't know what you're doing with that car, and you stick a probe into a high voltage cable, basically you're dead. So we have to teach, and we are currently teaching technicians at the moment, the safety elements of working with high voltage. Our cars are inherently safe. So if you unplug a high voltage component on our cars, you're not going to get hurt. They're very clever the way they're connected, and it's very easy to make the car safe. But if you don't know that, and you start sticking pins into high voltage cables, it's game over. So I can't afford to have people that don't have a respect for that type of technology working in the workshops. It's a very, very skilled and potentially lethal place to work. That technology is moving on with our electric cars. So we have iCars coming towards the end of the year. We have our first fully electric vehicle, i3, which will be coming out toward the end of the year. And then after that are the hybrid models as well. So this technology is moving further and further forward. So I hope that gives you a bit of a snapshot into our technology and the type of level and the type of skill that we now require to working on our vehicles. So I'm going to hand over to Gary, who's going to go into our apprenticeship programme, what we offer, in a little bit more detail.